Welcome to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy from WVU Coliseum in Morgantown. It is a Big 12 matchup as Oklahoma visits West Virginia. It is great to have you with us on this Saturday from Morgantown. Along with Fran Fraschilla, I'm Mark Neely. Chris Button also with us. Fran, it's Groundhog Day, about a 3-hour drive north of here. Punxsutawney Phil did not see a shadow, predicting an early spring. The other connection to Groundhog Day is the 1990s Groundhog Day movie, Bill Murray, implying reliving past experiences over and over again. Oklahoma's hoping they don't relive their Groundhog Day movie from last year.
Exactly. A year ago at this time, Trae Young was tearing up college basketball. Oklahoma was on a little bit of roll and then really struggled in February. And certainly this team, off to that same hot start, did it a little differently with defense. Haven't shot the ball well lately. Going into February now, they need to get some shots to go in. I expect the defense to be rock solid.
Chris Button earlier caught up with OU head coach Lon Kruger.
Coach, when you look back at last year, you hit February and you went 2-7. This is a much older, much more mature team. How do you feel that will help you down the stretch of the rest of the conference season?
Hopefully, with the experience from last year, guys will approach it a little bit differently, knowing that the next game is the only one that counts. You know, we can't worry too much about, number one, what happened last year. We've got to learn from it. And again, in this league, you got to come out and play well every night to have a chance.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, the Sooners were one of the youngest teams a year ago, Fran. Now this year they're one of the oldest.
Exactly. A couple of grad transfers that have been really helpful coming off the bench, and 3 guys on this roster that have Final Four experience, and a couple in the starting lineup today.
Mountaineers wearing the gold. They have the first possession. Sooners wearing their crimson.
West Virginia, it's all about taking care of the basketball, getting some shots up on the rim and let their size go to work on the offensive glass.
Down to 5 on the shot clock. Spinning Derek Culver, and a crowd puts it up off the left side of the rim, going out of bounds. And a fresh shot clock as West Virginia keeps possession.
Nice job by Christian Doolittle, who is really an outstanding defender. He walled up Culver and wouldn't let that big body get close to the rim.
Obviously, Culver getting the start today for West Virginia. Here's a 3 left side, up and in for Wes Harris.
You know, just getting shots up on the glass is key for West Virginia. And that time, off the offensive rebound opportunity, they manufacture an open shot.
Brady Manick wearing the buzz cut once again. Off target with his first shot. It's a West Virginia team whose lone conference win came here on this floor against Kansas. Jermaine Haley feeding Culver.
It's a team with 3 power forwards out there for West Virginia. Tough shot.
Yeah, tough with 2 on the shot clock, and not there for McCabe.
Couple freshman point guards. Bieniemy's been outstanding.
Odom's got left alone for a moment, but Harris was able to recover and got some defensive help from Culver as well.
That's the kind of shots they missed early in the Baylor game. Shot Odom's point blank, spooked a little bit.
You know, Fran, shooting against that zone of Baylor, if you have some misfires, it kind of gets in kids' heads, it seems.
Well, it did. But interestingly, Baylor started out man-to-man, and Oklahoma struggled. And once they went to the zone, the Bears, they just stayed with it.
Another deep shot put up by McCabe. That time was 7 on the shot clock. Here's Christian James feeding Manick in the corner with 3. Got it.
Good ball movement that time by James, the extra pass.
Manick coming off a tough game against Baylor on Monday, just 3 points in his 20-plus minutes. Culver gets his own miss, put back, good. Derek Culver's an interesting piece, a 6'10" true freshman.
He's a monster, and some attitude adjustment opportunities in the fall semester, but since we've seen him on the floor in conference play, worlds of potential.
There's Manick all alone on the feed from Doolittle.
Christian Doolittle as a junior really starting to get that freshman year mojo back. He missed the first half of last year with some academic issues on campus, but a really versatile guy that can play inside and out.
McCabe short with the 3. There's an offensive rebound again from Culver, fighting once again. That time misses the putback. Odoms. Manick on the drive. Nicely done by the Sooners in transition.
Well, Oklahoma on the defensive end has done a really good job. They know Culver is not, let's just say, has a soft touch yet. He does not have that. He is a bull in a china shop. So they played vertically and made him score over and unable to do it, but you love his effort.
Ahmad directing traffic. Culver up and under. He dumps it off underneath, but pinned there. Haley able to kiss it in.
And there's a nice decision by Culver, who drew some crimson jerseys to him and found Haley.
Sometimes that bull in the china shop makes the right pass.
Absolutely. He's got a good feel.
Foul underneath.
Little transition opportunity right here. Brady Manick finishing. And then watch Culver. You see the jerseys around him. Finds Jermaine Haley.
Coach Huggins, 34th season as a head coach, 12th season here at West Virginia. And it's been a difficult year. Obviously, the injury to Sags Kanate 9 games into the season really threw a monkey wrench in their plans.
Yeah, it did. And there have been other middling type issues. Obviously, no Bolden today. Lamont West wrist issues, some flu bug going around. Everybody deals with it, but to lose Kanate for most of the season. Well, we were here his last game when they throttled Pitt in here, and he had a Kanate type of game. 7 blocks, I believe, that game. He set the West Virginia career record.
And he's not played since due to that right knee. Ahmad, a long 2. It's off the back rim and an offensive rebound for Wesley Harris. And so far, West Virginia doing well on the offensive glass.
That's what they do, Mark. They may be turning it over. The ball's not going in, but that's a push off by Gordon.
Just about push Doolittle to the court. Timeout. It's an early 1-point lead for OU.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community.
Back at snowy Morgantown, you see the statue of Jerry West, who was in attendance this weekend as they honor the 1959 team that lost in the national championship game. Chris Budden had a chance to catch up with the Hall of Famer. What was on his mind, Chris?
Well, we had a long conversation about why he chose West Virginia. What was surprising is that he tells you that he's a really shy kid with not a lot of confidence, considering he had 60 scholarship offers when he was in high school. He said, but, you know, I just didn't know if I could make it outside of the state. He said, I knew I had the ability to play, but I just didn't know, growing up a country kid, if I wanted to go anywhere else. And he said it wasn't until his sophomore year of college that he really started to believe in himself. He said he still, throughout all these years, has remained shy, but Morgantown itself helped define who he was. Really an interesting character. We talked a lot about how the game has grown since then. He was 172 pounds when he left here. He said, I would have loved to have had the practice gyms and the strength and conditioning programs that they have now.
East Bank High School in East Bank, West Virginia, that qualifies you as a country kid.
Absolutely. Zeke from Cabin Creek.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Beloved, the most beloved figure probably in the history of this state.
Yeah, they're honoring the 1958-59 team, the 60th anniversary of the NCAA runner-up. Striving the enemy was contact from Gordon. Actually, that's Miles Reynolds.
So the number 2 pick in 1960 was Jerry West. You and I know who the number 1 pick was.
That was a big Oscar Robertson.
Oscar Robertson, and the number 3 pick, a guy named Darrell Imhoff,
who was a part of the Cal team that beat Jerry West's Mountaineers 71-70 for the national championship at Freedom Hall in Louisville.
How about that?
Substitution checking in for the Mountaineers.
He's 80 years old.
I know.
You wouldn't believe that by looking at it.
I've had a chance to talk to Jerry on a number of occasions, and he does not have a filter. If you ask him a question, he will give you a straight, honest answer.
He will be brutally honest with you if need be.
Great NBA player, executive, obviously. All right, so West Virginia doesn't have a turnover so far, and for Bob Huggins, that's got to warm his heart.
And they do have 4 offensive rebounds here early in the game.
You know, just as I
almost turned it over.
They are still 13th in the country in offensive rebound percentage. They retrieve 37% of their misses. The average team in college basketball retrieves about 30%, so they're able to get on the glass because of that size.
And Ahmad driving with the stuff. No offensive rebound needed there. But that part of Press Virginia is still around. Obviously, when you lose Javon Carter, Dax Miles, you're going to lose a lot of the Press Virginia. Here's a turnover created. Haley, a three is too long, but there's Ahmad in the right spot. Trying a third opportunity in a crowd. He is fouled.
Well, let's go back on this drive. Watch the post player right here, Gordon. He's going to seal Manick, so there's no help. And he gets a clear drive to the basket. We always talk about help and recover, sink and fill on the baseline, and you can't sink if you're screened out like Manick was. Nice opportunity for Ahmad. It's really interesting about Issa Ahmad, you know, top 50 player. Went back and looked at his numbers this week. He started 101 games. But in those 101 games, he's been in single figures 54 times. And yet he'll go get 27 against Kansas. Untapped potential, I think, is, you know, the story of what's been an up and down 4 years.
Quick three, Calixte. Aaron Calixte nails it.
One of Lon Kruger's first two graduate transfers, and the other guy guarding the ball right now, Reynolds.
One from Maine, one from Pacific, who also spent some time at St. Louis University, being Calixte and Reynolds.
The fact that both of those guys are in their fifth year is another reason why Oklahoma is the most experienced power conference team in the country. With those seniors that we've referred to already.
Ahmad. And Chase Harler now in the game for West Virginia.
You see how they go. Oh, that's a nice pass.
West got a little bit of a push from behind and unable to come up with the pass. That is their first turnover. And it comes over 6 minutes into the game. Open three again. Calixte hit one from the left side. Now hits one from the right side. And it's a 5-point lead for the Sooners.
And once again, what we've seen over the last couple weeks, the growth of Jamal Bieniemy, who just does not make mistakes. The freshman from Houston. He hasn't scored the last 2 games, but his assist to turnover ratio is astronomical.
Yeah, 16 assists, 2 turnovers in his last 2 games. Last 4 starts, actually, which is over 130 minutes of playing time.
We saw that great performance at Oklahoma State when he had 17.
Down to 2 on the shot clock in the reverse for Gordon.
I like this kid, Gordon. He's only a sophomore. He's a JUCO transfer, football player in high school.
He's got a football body, 6'9", 255. This is Reynolds.
Yeah, he is very serviceable, Gordon. He played at Northwest Florida State, one of the great JUCO programs in the country. As a freshman, he redshirted last year, and upon arriving here in Morgantown, he's got 3 years of eligibility left.
Harler from 17 is bumped and fouled.
Oklahoma foul on number 3, Miles Reynolds. His first, third.
Foul on Reynolds.
At the free throw line for the Mountaineers, Chase Harler.
It's going to put the Moundsville, West Virginia native, Chase Harler, at the line out of Wheeling Central High School.
Yep, up in the Panhandle.
A 2-time West Virginia Gatorade High School Player of the Year. By the way, if you saw the statue of Jerry West had snow on it, we got about 5 inches of snow here overnight Thursday into Friday. School was canceled here yesterday, so the students were off.
Well, he may have had snow on that statue, but trust me, I've never known Jerry West to go cold, especially from the perimeter.
Could light it up.
Yeah, he could light it up for sure.
But he still can.
Little pressure now by West Virginia. Of course, they don't have the depth or the experience or the athleticism. They have basically chucked Press Virginia for the time being.
Doolittle leans in. Too strong. He and McNeese going after the rebound, and Doolittle took it away from McNeese. Misses the putback. And the rebound is covered up by Culver. Redshirt freshman Brandon Napper in the game. A Harler 3. McNeese chases down the board. It's an Oklahoma team that we mentioned at the top, reflecting to Groundhog Day. Last year on Groundhog Day, they were in second place in the Big 12 behind Kansas. And then the wheels kind of fell off.
They did, absolutely. That team really struggled. All the pressure was on Trae Young, obviously. He was seeing all sorts of different defenses. I thought the rest of the guys really lost their confidence. And this year's team is built more on the defensive end. And when they shoot it well, they've proven this year to be very, very tough to guard.
Culver, an ill-advised pass is picked off on the bounce by Doolittle. Spinning, Odoms got it. Rashard Odoms has really had a resurgence. He has started the last 5 games now for OU, and it's really been a spark.
Always loved his toughness. You know, he didn't play much on that Final Four team, but he's told us many times one of the benefits being a freshman that year, he guarded Buddy Hield every single day in practice. And Rashard Odoms is always going to bring you toughness and energy.
Culver faces up. Shot clock again running deep in this possession, down to 4, and a 3 left side is there for Brandon Napper. Just his 14th made 3 of the season.
And he didn't really have much, any place to go. Didn't turn it over, got a good look.
James elects to shoot over Harler. It's just been an inconsistent shooting year for Christian James.
Absolutely, especially in Big 12 play. All the other numbers are pretty good. And he's been a terror on the glass. He's had, by and large, a really good senior year, but the jump shot has come and gone.
He's had 3 games this year of single-digit scoring. 2 of those 3 have come in the last 3 games. We've had some snow here in Morgantown, but what is net? It may get your favorite team in the NCAA tournament. That and more coming up from snowy Morgantown. Well, back here in Morgantown, do you know the net, the NCAA evaluation tool? It's new this year. It's been created to replace RPI, so it's going to be a big tool as far as what the selection committee uses to put teams in the NCAA tournament. Now, how do the teams in the Big 12 rank right now in net? And actually pretty well.
Yeah, and I think 8 in the top 40 is pretty good. Now, what is the net? How is it broken down? It's game results, strength of schedule, you see there, game location, scoring margin with a cap. And here's where the bugaboo lies. See where it says net offensive and defensive efficiency? The one issue I see with the net so far is while scoring margin is capped, the offensive and defensive efficiencies are not capped. So when you do beat let's say a number 350 team in the net by 40, it really inflates your net score. So that's something I think is going to be worked out by the committee, by the NCAA. But it is a tool, and it's not the only tool I would hope that the basketball committee uses. They'll use some other metrics, and of course the eye test and their experience as people who have been around the game a long time. But it's a new version of the NCAA's old RPI.
How does it do with, say, a quadrant 1 win?
Well, quadrant 1 wins are here's how it breaks down. If you beat a top 30 team at home or a neutral team, a team on a neutral court, it's a top 50, or you get a road win against a top 75 net team, that's a quadrant 1 win. In the Big 12 right now, Kansas has 7 quadrant 1 wins. Baylor, believe it or not, second. I guess it's believable the way they're playing. They have 5.
So some of the pluses, some of the minuses. What are some of the bugaboos you think?
Well, I think the big thing is the efficiency, because you have to cap that, because now you have reason to go blow a team out, knowing that your offensive and defensive efficiency is going to be ranked higher. There's some mathematical inaccuracies, I think, between home and away wins and performances. And in my mind, it actually rewards teams with weaker schedules. If I'm a West Virginia, I go up and play Robert Morris on the road, because that could potentially be a quadrant 1 or quadrant 2 win. You know, so you'll see some of the major conference teams playing some road games as long as the net rankings stay the way they are. But they'll fool with them and figure out what's the best way to go about it.
See how it all plays out. Christian James. Odom's a spin move, and Harler creates the steal on the run. Napper bounce pass. West had a little trouble finding the handle, but eventually does and lays it in.
Well, good decision by Brandon Napper. And he's a young man that has had major turnover problems early in the year. All he's got to do is hit singles. Don't try to swing for the fences. Bieniemy around and out.
You mentioned Bieniemy. He's been held scoreless since the Bedlam win in Stillwater. No points his last 2 games coming in.
I think they're comfortable with his playmaking on the floor, but certainly we've seen where he can get you some points.
Looked like he stepped on the baseline. Harler did indeed, and turns it over.
Keep it simple. Simple, fundamental basketball. That's what West Virginia's looking for. Good pass, good catch, good finish.
When Taco Bell's not.
Hoops are hoops, college or pro. Take it from the people who know.
Now that's a highlight shot.
ESPN's experts switch sidelines. It's the crossover, beginning February 5th on ESPN.
Yeah, it's that time of year again, the NBA college basketball crossover, and it begins on Super Tuesday. We also have our Saturday primetime game coming up tonight. LeBron James taking on Steph Curry, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. NBA countdown begins at 8.
How'd you like to be all those young guys on the Lakers, knowing that at any moment your time in LA could be done, as Lakers trying to figure out a way to procure the services of Anthony Davis, whose father said he will not advise Anthony to play in Boston because of the way the Celtics treated Isaiah Thomas. Mr. Davis, it's a business.
And a lot of us, I don't know about you, learned that you are fined now. The way the collective bargaining agreement is, you can't ask for a trade in the NBA. A player cannot. You are fined, and Anthony, he was.
It's a different time. I mean, it's a player-centric league, and in many ways, rightfully so. I mean, they don't come out to watch the coaches in the NBA. They come out to watch the great stars. Those guys handle themselves extremely well on and off the court. But at some point, you know, I just think that I'm not saying the Stars have too much juice. They do. But I miss some of the days where you could actually play defense. Because right now, the way the rules are, you can't really guard anybody, play physically.
Manic trying to come away with it. He's got 3 gold jerseys around him, and there's a foul call. I think they're getting it on West, or they're going to actually call it on Culver.
That's one thing Brady Manic has really improved on as a sophomore. He has become a very, very good defensive rebounder. A year ago, playing with Trae Young and playing that spread offense, he really spent more time on the perimeter mark, and he definitely doesn't mind getting his nose bloodied inside.
Not a bad offensive rebounder as well. He leads OU in that department,
Yeah.
35 on the season. And the Larry Bird, so to speak, locks are gone. Fans have probably noticed that. That's another Sooner turnover.
And that was a bad angle for him to pass the ball into the post.
Bieniemy trying to steal it back. Haley, body on the floor. Loose again. Haley got a little hand on it, but here comes Bieniemy, and he's got Manic and James with him. James gives it up. Manic fouled hard by West going to the rim. Well, coming up next over on ESPN, our college basketball top 15 quintuple header rolls on. 9th ranked North Carolina and 15th ranked Louisville, followed by number 7 Kentucky and Florida. And then Indiana, number 6 Michigan State. We cap it off at 8. Number 1 Tennessee taking on Texas A&M. All 4 games also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. So Manic there on the right is what he looked like earlier this season. In fact, until last week. Very similar to Larry the Legend. Chris has more on where'd those locks go?
A little bit. He just wanted to change up the juju a little bit. Felt like the 3 points the other day against Baylor wasn't cutting it. So then you got to cut the hair along with it. Thought, hey, we'll put the past in the past, and showed up to practice on Thursday, and everyone said, where'd it go? Don't worry, still get the mustache though.
So when you got some bad mojo going,
So Chris,
off goes the hair.
did Chris do that on purpose? 3 points against Baylor wasn't cutting it.
Oh, I picked up the meaning.
I'm about as witty as you, Fran.
Tough company. Well, the hair. That's kind of Groundhog Day with his hair from last year.
Back to normal.
That was the look.
Yep.
Haley can't get it to fall on the free throw, and then a foul. Did he get Culver again?
The foul is whistled on Derek Culver.
And that's an era of commission. And, you know, you never mind a guy that's playing hard, but he's got to understand that Jamoni McNeese, a 5-year guy, is going to do everything he can to keep Culver from getting inside position. And sometimes you just got to let that go.
So a couple of quick fouls on Culver. Sends him to the bench.
Yeah, I would chalk those up to inexperience right there.
The front end missed. So the final 6+ minutes, West Virginia most likely will keep Culver on the bench with 2 fouls.
Pretty good execution offensively for West Virginia, especially without Bolden.
Boy, Manic, you see him fighting over the top of that screen to Haley. Now here's Haley on the baseline. Ahmad, ball fake and a shot, swish.
They could use a big day from Issa Ahmad, that's for sure.
On the sideline, Calixte, they trap him, and he tries to throw it off Napper and does so.
And I think Aaron got away with shuffling his feet on that trap right there, fortunately, and then had the experience to throw the ball off the West Virginia player. Watch this on the hand. Well, we've already seen the handoff, but good job right there at trapping. At least for one possession, a little bit of resemblance of the old Press Virginia.
You do get a few glimpses here and there.
Just a different team, different era. And even Carter and Miles, when they arrived as freshmen, they were part of a six-man group in the backcourt. They didn't do it all by themselves.
Calixte on McCabe, shoots over him.
Well, I thought he got hit in the head on that.
He thought he did too.
Yeah.
Hands went out. West traveled. 5th turnover for West Virginia. Let's go back.
Yeah, watch McCabe. It looks like he comes down and breaks the plane here. Oh, yeah. Yep. Head, shoulder. Yep. Part of the game. They don't see them all.
But technically, it's a foul.
It is a foul.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. Oh, yeah. Good crew today, but coaches make mistakes, kids miss free throws, and officials get them wrong.
Just ask a Saints fan.
Yeah, how about that? All right, the worst, most important worst call in NFL history. I think it's terrible that Roger Goodell didn't stand up and take ownership of that whole situation. I mean, he basically went into witness protection for a week, and that is egregious.
Which was pretty much the same comment that Drew Brees made publicly.
Yeah.
Reynolds again. OU misses the front end for a second time. We're about to hit the 5-minute mark here the first half, and it's the Mountaineers with a 2-point lead. Harris.
I'll tell you what, McCabe, for a freshman, has done a nice job today.
He's going to launch the 3. Hasn't got one of those to fall yet, and he was well short with it.
No, the shooting has been a struggle, but his playmaking and poise today really solid.
Bieniemy. Reynolds got it.
That's what he does. He put the pressure on the referee to make that call because Miles Reynolds is tremendous at going to the rim and getting on the foul line. Watch this. He's going to drive the ball right into McCabe, and McCabe again breaks that plane a little bit. That time Miles Reynolds, a double transfer. Young man who played at Whitney Young High School
in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, I was interested, Fran, to see because Reynolds was starting for OU to begin the season. Then the switch with Bieniemy, how he would handle that and react to it. But he showed his veteran savvy, and it's been a non-issue, it seems.
No, I think so. I mean, I think he's thrilled to be in a program where they have a chance to play in the postseason. Calixte the same way. They're not even guarding route. You see how far back McNeese is allergic to Logan route right now.
Now the 6'11" center not known for shooting the three.
No.
You know, there's someone related to that, and we mentioned Kanate, who's been out since game 9. That's one part of the game that Kanate was starting to bring to the table, was shooting threes. So, I mean, they missed not only his shot blocking, but he had expanded his range.
It definitely improved. And there was a stretch, I thought, early in the year where he was spending a lot of time out there.
Yeah, probably too much.
But the last game,
loose ball, Calixte diving, sliding, found Reynolds, but Keith Kimball saying he was on the baseline, and it's West Virginia ball.
Wow, great hustle by Calixte, and if Keith Kimball was able to see this, take a look. Does he get rid of it? Ooh, I think he did. Real time. I think he just got rid of it, and you can't fault the official who's sprinting from half court. But I think that ball, it was a great hustle play anyway. And Keith Kimball, who's a Final Four official, I think that one, he missed on that one. Do you think he got rid of it?
It was really close and tough for Keith trying to trail the play to get an angle to see that.
Impossible for him to get down the floor like that.
Swish, Brandon Napper. He's been a bit of a plus here on the offensive side today.
But you know what? Singles. He's hitting singles.
James passed up the three. And set up the half-court offense for the Sooners with 3.5 minutes to go in the half. Floated up and got it. Miles Reynolds having a big first half for the Sooners.
That's exactly what he does. He's gone over 100 free throw attempts this season. Pretty good for a guard.
There's a timeout on the court.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Miralax. It works with the water in your body to unblock your system naturally.
Hey, tonight it's a Super Saturday top-ranked boxing card with 3 world title fights highlighted by the WBO featherweight title on ESPN and ESPN Deportes at 10 Eastern. Then at midnight on ESPN Plus in English and Spanish, it's Alvarez Kovalev 2 for the WBO light heavyweight belt. You can stream the undercards on ESPN Plus starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Yeah, and remember, Alvarez knocked down Kovalev, I think, 3 times in that 7th round in that first meeting. Those 2 guys are going to go toe-to-toe tonight.
Under 3.5 minutes to go first half. Coming up on the E-Trade halftime report with Chris Cotter, Dallin Cuff, Sean Farnham. They'll preview all that's ahead. Just getting this Saturday going from Morgantown.
You know, I was mentioning to you during the break that I feel like Oklahoma is more suited to go on one of those 10-0 runs than West Virginia. But hey, if this guy keeps playing the way he has, who knows?
He has not missed a shot today. 4 for 4 and got that one to fall high off the backboard.
Well, this is the best stretch of basketball I've seen the Charleston native play for Bob Huggins. Remember, he redshirted as a freshman with a knee injury. He was back practicing last year. But the big thing for him early in the year, at least halfway through the season, has been his inability to take care of the ball. He's been really solid today.
Well, his first miss comes from the line, which for West Virginia, they're just 2 of 8 from the line here in the first half. That jumper bouncing around does not fall that time for Miles Reynolds.
Those are the kind of shots you have to make on the road. Again, Oklahoma, the defense you expect to be solid. It's been the inconsistent perimeter shooting, which has caused that loss certainly on Monday night.
18-footer from Napper. Looks like that was touched last by West Virginia's Harris.
Yeah, what's so interesting, Mark, about Oklahoma is we saw that incredible last 30 minutes up in Stillwater, and they blew out Vandy in the Big 12 SEC Challenge.
By 31 points.
And then come back and I guess it was the Scott Drew or the Drew family revenge tour.
They lose to Baylor by 30 after Scott's brother Bryce Drew's Vandy team got beat by OU by 31. Harler Bumped into the defender. Foul on the floor. No shot. Do not count the bucket. Well, the SEC Big 12 Challenge was a week ago today, and it had the Sooners taking on Vanderbilt. They won 86-55, won by 31. And then Monday they take on Baylor. They go from Bryce Drew's team to Scott Drew's Baylor team, and they lose by 30, 77-47. Oklahoma only had 21 points in the first half and 26 points in the second half in that game.
And if you look at their Big 12 numbers, they're shooting 29% from three. And despite the defense, their ability to take care of the ball, their experience, if you're not making shots, especially in this league this year, you know, we were talking to Coach Kruger before the game. I think 6 of the best 25 defensive teams in the country by efficiency are in this league. So on a night-to-night basis, if you can make a few more shots, obviously, the defense is going to likely be solid.
Well, 2 minutes to play in the first half in Morgantown, at West Virginia with the 3-point lead.
And this is a guy that's got to make some shots, Christian James.
Odoms backs it up with 7 to shoot. Odoms trying to dribble past Harler, passes off Doolittle in the lane, way off the left side.
Good defense, solid defense by the Mountaineers. Yeah, Oklahoma struggling to shoot, but you got to give Mountaineers a lot of credit for this first half defense.
Harris looking at Doolittle, passes off. Napper 4-4 from the field today. Wants the screen from Rout, doesn't use it, shoots it, and it's well short. It's out of bounds, but it was touched, I think, by James. Even though it didn't hit the rim.
That happens.
Still West Virginia ball. And that's tough on a defender. You expect it to hit the rim.
Exactly. James is just trying to get position. All of a sudden the ball hits him in the hands or the head, and not expecting it.
But again, didn't hit the rim. Just 3 on the shot clock. High lob in for Rout. He's going to have to put it up. He does so. He hit the crease of the rim barely. So it wasn't a shot clock violation, and it allowed Ahmad to rebound and score.
And right now it's about effort, and West Virginia's getting to those offensive rebounds.
Kalixti's pass, he was expecting Odoms to cut to the basket, and they throw it away.
And I mentioned that 10-0 run that I thought one of these teams was going to put on the other. I thought it might be Oklahoma, but you got to love the way West Virginia has played today. Great intensity.
A 6-0 run for West Virginia. We take a 30-second timeout at Morgantown. Redshirt freshman Brandon Napper's had a nice first half for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, it really has. Career high 15 against Baylor early in the year. And today I think he's been poised, under control. He's run the offense well and making some key baskets for Bob Huggins' team. And in the absence of Beetle Bolden, who's still nursing that ankle injury, this is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Off the bench, 10 minutes, 9 points for Napper. 5-point lead for West Virginia is their largest of the game. With under a minute to go in the first half. And you got about a 5-6 second difference shot clock to game clock. Oklahoma can hold it, not necessarily for the final shot, but can pretty much take it all the way down.
You got to treat it that way. You want to treat it that way. You want to hope that West Virginia doesn't get another opportunity, so you want to milk it.
And that's a charge. Harler there to take the charge. And now West Virginia is going to get the final opportunity.
Scouting report defense right there. Which way does Rashad Odoms drive 80% of the time? To the left hand. Good job by Chase Harler. He read the scouting report, watched the tape, and that's what happens in conference play. Everybody knows everybody's strengths and weaknesses.
Trey Dooms will be a late check-in, number 0 for West Virginia, with his final 9.6 seconds of the first half.
Both teams are in a double bonus. If I'm Napper right now, I put my head down, go to the basket, draw some defenders. Let's see if he's going to get it back. It's going to be Dooms.
Dooms ran into Reynolds.
I like it. I said put your head down. I thought it was going to be Napper.
He was like a running back, just heading towards the rim. And Reynolds got in his way.
Trey Dooms, remember, they were going to redshirt him, the young man from Georgia who went to high school down in Fort Lauderdale, high school teammate of Vernon Carrier, who will play at Duke next year. Big man, one of the best couple big guys in the country. Trey Dooms making his presence felt here before halftime. He's trying to get some minutes in the second half.
And he does something West Virginia hadn't done well in the first half, and that's hit both free throws. 5 seconds to play. Lead is 7 for the Mountaineers. Last chance of the half. Calixte gives it up. James, it would count off the front rim. An 8-0 run for West Virginia to end the first half. And it's the Mountaineers that have a 7-point lead. Chris has Coach Huggins.
Coach, what have you seen from your guys defensively that's allowed them to hold Oklahoma to just 26?
I thought we played really hard. For the most part, we took them out of what we thought they wanted to do. Although they're good. I mean, they get it where they want to get it most of the time.
You've been critical of the way that your team has handled the ball and the turnovers. What have you seen from them so far?
Well, we haven't turned it over so much, but we haven't made a shot either, you know. We've had all kind of open shots, can't make one.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks.
Straight talk from Coach Huggins. That takes care of the first half. Coming up after the break, it's the E-Trade halftime report. So stick around for that at the intermission. West Virginia by 7. Welcome back to Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. We're about to start the second half from Morgantown, and thanks to an 8-0 run to end the half, West Virginia has a 7-point lead along with Chris Button and Fran Fraschilla, who's not from Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. He's from Brooklyn. I'm Mark Neely. Brandon Napper came off the bench for West Virginia in that first half. Really gave them some solid minutes in scoring.
This is the guy they expected. This is a 3-time All-State player here in the state of West Virginia. He missed all last season with a knee injury and some blood clot issues earlier in the year, but they need solid guard play, and they've certainly gotten that tonight. This West Virginia team only has 5 turnovers, Mark, and primarily because this guy has handled the ball very, very well and gives him some outside scoring as well.
He's flirting with a career high, but how about James? They need to find some production from him.
They really do. I mean, the whole key with Oklahoma now is their scoring. And obviously, when you talk about that and the inconsistency, it starts with the guy who has been their main scorer. And once again, after struggling against Baylor, 2 for 9 on Monday, he hasn't been able to get it going. And let's see if they can get him going.
There's a lob and a slam by Doolittle. This Groundhog Day a year ago, Oklahoma was sitting in second place in the Big 12 behind Kansas, and they had a dreadful conclusion to the season. They're hoping it's not the Bill Murray movie. Groundhog Day here in 2019. Chris has more.
We spoke with Lon Kruger at halftime. He said, I want a better foundation on offense to be able to create more momentum, and that includes attacking the rim, getting some more rebounds, moving the ball a little bit better. He said we've also just been brutal from the free throw line, just 3 of 10 that first half.
I guess a lob is attacking the rim right out of the locker room.
Yep, get yourself an easy basket and try to build a little offensive momentum, and that was well done. You know, when you miss 7 free throws and you're down 8, you're not going to make all 10 of them. They were 3 for 10, but those missed free throws sometimes, especially front end of 1-and-1s that we saw, those are like invisible turnovers.
West Virginia doing better from the line to end the first half and to begin the second half. Culver had to sit a good 6 minutes at the end of the half with 2 fouls, so he's back in there to start the second half.
And Napper starting the second half. Jordan McCabe started the game. Played pretty well, but Napper has certainly given them a spark offensively.
James drives, can't get it to crawl over the rim. Well, they basically were giving him the 3-point shot. He elected to drive, which isn't a bad thing, just couldn't get it to fall.
Well, it may also show you about his confidence level right now, shooting that deep ball.
Face it up, Culver. James steps in between Napper and that pass. Odoms fighting his way through and finishing.
Now 2 easy baskets now for Oklahoma at the rim, and that'll hopefully for Lon Kruger soften things up. And there's a turnover.
Odoms getting that last hoop, and another West Virginia turnover. Bob Huggins' teams have won 11 or more conference games each of the last 4 seasons. Only Kansas is the other team to do that in the Big 12. They're obviously not going to win 11 this year. Only win coming against Kansas.
Really good defense by Culver that time.
James too strong. Offensive rebound, Doolittle. He goes back up from 14 feet out, off the lip, off the floor. Manick able to tip it back. It leaves Bieniemy open for a 3, and that goes around, out, and then in.
You don't think that he's breathing a sigh of relief after going 2.5 games without a basket? His floor game, his defense have been excellent, but good extra pass that time by Christian James, who actually passed up an open shot.
A lob to Haley. So West Virginia answers the Oklahoma lob to start the half with one of their own.
Not only gets you an easy basket, but sometimes it's a confidence builder.
James strip. Haley with some help from Harris on the backside. Both teams now 7 turnovers. And how about the shooting today from Brandon Napper? James a spin move. That won't go. And the frustrations continue for James. Harris guarded by Odoms. Deflection, Bieniemy. Jamal weaves his way, bounces it to Manick. A jump stop and a lay-in. Brady Manick scored the first 7 points of the game for Oklahoma, then did not have a shot after the 16.5-minute mark of the first half until then. Culver bumped, fouled. It won't fall, but he'll shoot 2.
Let's go back and talk about Oklahoma getting off to a better offensive start this half. A lob, a layup, and there's a good job on the offensive glass. Good ball reversal, and knocking down the 3. And just a easy back screen lob. You always got to protect the basket if you're the screener's man. And I sense from Oklahoma to start the second half, I've seen this on tape a little bit, the energy on the defensive end wanes. And Lon Kruger told us before the game, a lot of it he thought is because when you're not making shots, that can happen to a team, but they have to create more energy on the defensive end. Couple steals early, but you can't give up a lob for an easy 2. Not if you're supposed to be a good defensive team, which they are.
Hey, you saw the free throws. Neither team really lighting it up from the line, though West Virginia's done a better job. And Napper commits a foul 40 feet from the basket.
Yeah, 2 hands. That's an easy call.
His second.
I don't think the Mountaineers can argue about the whistle today. It's been well officiated.
Yeah, it's been well balanced.
Yes, it has. To this point.
Manick with the ball fake. Odoms kicks it to the corner. The drive, the floater, around and won't fall for Reynolds. Haley had to be careful. Almost got his pocket pick, but there's Napper, who has been the story off the bench for West Virginia today.
He's certainly changed the complexion of this West Virginia offense. No question. No Beetle Bolden, and you wouldn't know he's missing, at least today.
Largest lead of the game is 9 points for West Virginia, but Napper commits a foul on a 3-point attempt there by Calixte.
Well, he's getting it done on the offensive end. Take a look. Confidence, catch and shoot, no hesitation.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Tyson. Keep it real. Keep it Tyson.
That was at halftime today. Jerry Reed and others, part of an alumni weekend. They brought back many of the former players, including a handful from the 1958-59 NCAA runner-up team. Jerry West, by the way, Fran, was the 1959 most outstanding player of the Final Four, even though his team lost to Cal by 1 point in the championship game.
Yeah, it's amazing. You see the gentleman on the right is Willie Akers, his teammate. And Willie was a long-time great high school coach in this state. And to see the reunion, not only of that great team, but all the players from the recent past, great tradition and history here in West Virginia for Mountaineer basketball.
Chris?
Jerry told us a great story before the game. His freshman year, that was when freshmen couldn't play with the upperclassmen. Their freshman team would beat them all the time, to the point that coaches had to be like, hey, we can't have the freshmen play the older guys anymore.
We need to get the NCAA rules changed.
Yeah, but and you know, they played for the great Fred Schaus, who later went on and coached the Los Angeles Lakers, and Jerry West.
Yes.
And, but the history and tradition here, you know, certainly the Bob Huggins era, John Beilein had some great teams in the Big East, and Gail Catlett had some terrific teams as well.
Oh, you picking up the defense, and it helps create a turnover. Pressure defense leads to the 9th West Virginia turnover. Calixte's 3 off that front rim, and rebound brought down by Jermaine Haley. Quick pass in the corner. Harris. Doolittle comes down with the rebound. Outlet.
Yes.
On the move comes Calixte.
Strong rebound by Doolittle.
Manick, 3.
Now, right now, Oklahoma living and dying with jump shots. They don't have any inside scoring to speak of.
Well, Fran, you and I saw this in the Bedlam matchup in Stillwater, where early Oklahoma was settling for the jumpers when they started driving to the bucket. They came back from a 19-point deficit.
Absolutely, and we also saw Jamaica McGee that night come off the bench and get some buckets posting up as well. We'll see him soon.
Shot clock rolls to 5. Haley's 3. And an Odom's rebound.
I like running right here. You got to get some easy ones. Can't give it away like that.
Harris might have knocked that free for the Haley steal, and Haley trying to drive to the bucket. An offensive foul with Manick there to take the charge for the Sooners.
You just can't run guys over. Take a look right here. 2 feet on the ground.
Foul.
It's up to the offensive player to avoid a legally guarding defender. Jermaine Haley's given them good solid minutes this year, the transfer from Odessa College. He's from Burnaby, British Columbia. You know, the 2 things Burnaby is known for, at least in my mind, Simon Fraser University. It's also the home of where they make the EA Sports games.
Very close to Vancouver, really a part of that metro area.
Pretty much Vancouver, yep.
Fouls on West, not West, his first. Already up to team foul number 5 against West Virginia with not quite 6 minutes gone in the second half.
If that's the case, well, Oklahoma does have to drive the ball so they can get themselves to the free throw line.
Manick knocked away by West, picked up off the floor by McCabe. 10 Oklahoma turnovers. West from the left corner. Ahmad with those long arms and big hands. The rebound. McCabe finds the scoring column. Play stopped. We'll push it after the bucket. Calixte got pushed down almost right into the knees of McCabe.
Yeah, that is a big bucket for the young man from Wisconsin.
He missed his first 4 from the field. Those in the first half. Lead is up to 9 for the Mountaineers. There's a drive. Calixte didn't take it to the rim, gave it to Manick, who hits the 3, and I thought maybe it's a mistake. Calixte just didn't take that to the rim.
I was thinking the same thing, but he got Brady Manick a really good look, and when Brady has his feet set, eyes on the rim, That's what we call beef right there. Balance, eyes, elbow, follow through. Perfectly done.
That's where the beef is. Nice acronym.
Yeah.
They've been looking for that for a long time. McCabe sealed off by Doolittle, a little behind the back pass, and with one, West has to fire it up. He did draw iron, but a long rebound to Manning. On the move comes Reynolds. Runs into the defender, and that's an offensive foul with McCabe taking the charge for West Virginia.
That is the same exact play we saw on the other end. Watch Jordan McCabe. He gets set, takes the contact, and Miles Reynolds runs him over.
Sports Center tonight coming up after Top Rank Boxing with John Anderson and Kenny Mayne. They'll have all the highlights from Lakers Warriors. Also post-game reactions from LeBron, KD, Steph. And it's the eve of Super Bowl 53. The Patriots, their keys to stopping Jared Goff. And also the top moments from the Octagon and the ring. Big Sports Center midnight Eastern on ESPN and the app.
Who you got tomorrow?
You know, I'm not a betting man, but I can't bet or think that Tom Brady is going to lose.
He's going to do it one more time.
Yeah.
I know it.
Should be a terrific game, but
how about the youngest coach in the NFL to ever coach in a Super Bowl? 33 years old. Bill Belichick is 66. He's twice his age.
Well, there may be a lot of connections if the Rams are able to win. You kind of have the tie back to their first meeting in the early 2000s.
Yep.
When they beat the Rams, the greatest show on turf, and Kurt Warner and that bunch. That was their first Super Bowl. And
yes, it was. What an upset that was, right?
Oh, absolutely. 6 to shoot with that left hand. Harris off the back iron, batted around and into the arms of Reynolds. I didn't ask you who you got. I'll let you off the hook.
I like the Patriots. I just think Bill Belichick has been there time and time again. They do a better job of anybody really in recent history, last 25 years, of making you play to your weaknesses on both offense and defense.
It's a James miss from 3. Parler a drive. Harris the cleanup.
Now, Oklahoma's transition defense in the second half has not been good. There's another example of that last play.
Doolittle on the drive and one.
Basket by Doolittle.
Watch Chase Harlow. He just gets coast to coast. Nobody picks him up. Where's the defense? He doesn't make it, but it's an easy play. Easy finish by Harris.
I appreciate the Zion update. He's picking on one of your old teams there, Coach.
Well, now that they've people from ESPN have switched over to our closer game.
Yes, please.
Zion is the National Player of the Year. He was the #1 pick back at the end of the summer. And now it's a matter of how much history he and his Duke teammates, all those freshmen, actually make. That young man, I've said it before, he will make a lot of money playing basketball, probably about $1 billion.
With a B.
With a B.
Yeah.
Incredible magnetism, great talent, great skill level, and really a cartoon character in a way like Shaq has become, you know. Just a dynamic personality. The Madison Avenue shoe rating is off the charts. And a great player, great young man.
So if you are just tuning over from the Duke St. John's game, we got a good game going on here in the Big 12. A really important game, Fran, especially for Oklahoma on the road, a team that still has its NCAA tournament aspirations.
Without question. They have had a terrific non-conference record. They've been bounced around in a league that's been very competitive, and right now West Virginia has played very, very well today, and they've taken care of the basketball.
McCabe.
Yeah.
Offensive putback for Harris.
And that's where they have dominated the game today. 12th offensive rebound, another second chance point. And the pressure defense may have gone away this season, but that same tenaciousness on the offensive glass is still evident.
Spin move, Christian James. But taking it to the rim that time, will go to the line.
Well, they came into today the 13th best offensive rebounding team in the country, and they have done nothing to disprove what we all know is their strength. Watch them just pound the glass. That leads to an open 3. This layup, put back.
Chris Budden with more on that.
Well, the offensive rebounds are one of the areas that Bob Huggins says he loses sleep over recently. He said, you know, I just don't know the right buttons to push for this team. But he said over the last couple days, he's noticed a difference in practice, a better attitude of being able to be more aggressive. He said, my problem was I didn't know how to get them to care about making mistakes. And he feels like over the last couple weeks, he's started to find that right groove. And you see that today with the lack of turnovers and the boards, especially on the offensive end.
Hey, Chris, you and I were talking to Hugs before the game, and you asked him, how much sleep do you get a night, Hugs? He said 4 hours? 4 hours.
Didn't help with the fresh fish fry last night.
No, he didn't miss the fish fry, of course. His charity. Slam dunk, Issa Ahmad.
That started with McCabe. What a great drive by McCabe.
Double-double now for Issa Ahmad. 10 points, 10 rebounds, and Oklahoma turns it over.
Remember, it's been McCabe to start. Napper's been terrific in the middle of the game. And watch McCabe. Pick and roll. Good catch. And we talked about Culver having a good feel for the game. That was a good example. Didn't run the defender over. Nice dump off.
Reynolds commits the foul, playing the aggressive defense, trying to knock that away from Wesley Harris.
Been a good 1-2 punch today for Bob Huggins. As I mentioned, from his two freshman point guards. Napper catching a break right now. But without Bolden, out with that ankle injury, this has been welcome.
Reynolds just picked up his 4th foul. Chris with more on that.
Well, Bolden's still dealing with the high ankle sprain that he suffered against Tennessee. You see him in the boot. He was on crutches earlier. Their hope is that after the Texas game, they'll have a week off before they have to go to Kansas, and he'll be ready by then.
Yeah, those high ankle sprains certainly take a while. 1 on the shot clock. Got it to the rim. And another offensive putback for West Virginia.
That's the story of this game. If you want to summarize it in one sentence so far, it's been their offensive rebounding.
James off the mark, run down in the corner by Maddock. James all alone, able to miss the lay-in. Boy, isn't that the recent travails of Christian James in a nutshell, missing the bunny. Now he will go to the line.
Yeah, this is a team that their offense is so inconsistent. And right now they've been hammered on the glass so much that Hannes Pola is going to make an appearance, a sophomore from Finland, who plays very, very little.
Yeah, about 4 minutes a game when he gets in. So that's Pola coming in, 6'11", sophomore, as Fran mentioned, from Finland. Christian James is 1 of 10 from the field today, 0 for 4 from three-point land. Connects from the free throw line to make this 7-point game.
Yeah, it's my opinion he's thinking too much. He's passed up some wide open looks. He's just you gotta play with a free mind if you're the leading scorer. You have to have amnesia.
They're still averaging a team-high 16 points per game coming in, but that average has been getting dwindled down a bit in recent weeks. Harris picks up the foul.
This young man, Hannes Pola, you want to know what's the connection? Juan Kruger coached Hanno Mettola with the Atlanta Hawks. Hanno is a beloved figure in Finnish basketball. He played at Utah for Rick Majerus.
He could shoot it.
He was a tremendous player in college, a good NBA player. And Hannes was the reason that Hannes Pola is a Oklahoma Sooner.
Calixte for the Sooners as they make it a 5-point game.
Yeah, watch McCabe now reaching in. Not necessary right there. Just at this level, guys will make tough shots. You cannot reward them with a silly foul.
Calixte makes it a 4-point game. So even though a lot has gone wrong for Oklahoma here, Fran, they're just down 4 with a ton of time left.
No question.
Harler. Bullet pass, maybe a little too hard with the fastball, as Ahmad couldn't handle it.
Yeah, not necessary.
James passed up the 3.
He should have shot it.
Still 10 on the shot clock. The enemy's three is off. Too long. Pola letting it go out of bounds. Timeout with under 8 minutes to play in Morgantown. Back at Morgantown, 4-point lead for West Virginia with just under 8 minutes to go in the second half. Well, last night was the Huggins fish fry. That backboard with Hugs' face on it, I want to say went for $2,500, believe it or not.
Yep.
Lots of fun. They say Jerry was there as well, Jerry West, as well as some of the 58, 59 team. They always say, hey, that wasn't my first rodeo. That wasn't my first fish fry last night. And they're a blast to go to. They're a ton of fun. And Coach Huggins told me today that they're going to raise from last night about $500,000 for cancer research, which is named after his mother, Norma May Huggins, and her endowment fund. She passed away from cancer. And this is what was called the original musket, and you'll never believe how much this went for. It was the final auction piece of the 17 of the night.
I already know, so I'm gonna let you tell the national audience.
$120,000.
Wow, amazing. Well, they love Hugs, they love their Mountaineers, and they certainly come out and support whatever venture he's involved with.
I think I was a little short, $125,000. Great fun. And well done by Coach Huggins and all the help that he gets to pull off the annual fish fry. And it was last night, and it was a blast. Calixte. Pola, offensive rebound. Got hacked around. Finds the ball again. Waiting underneath. He's fouled. Well, there was a lot of contact prior to that. They let go, but Pola, end result, is going to the line.
Really good effort by the young man from Finland. 2 for 2 on the season, so he hasn't been there very often, but he's given them a good lift, at least in terms of throwing that body around. This is not easy. That's pretty good. I'm going to tell you, when you sit there, not only all game, but most of the season, you come off the bench and can make a free throw, maybe 2 right here. How about that?
Well, he just doubled his free throw total for the year. He was 2 for 2 on the year coming in.
Exactly.
And now he's 4 for 4 and makes it a 4-point game.
Don't think his teammates don't appreciate that because they know how hard he works every day. This is the kind of team he can be effective against because they have a lot of big bodies, but he doesn't need to do that.
And a little push from behind on Gordon.
Oklahoma foul called on number 44, Hannes Pola, his first. Team foul number 6.
Pola's got a little scuff there on his knee there. But it's interesting how he adds a different dynamic to Oklahoma today.
Well, in part, it was necessity being the mother of invention because they have been pounded on the offensive glass. And I expect we'll see Manick or McNeese back soon, but give Pola credit.
They missed 2 front ends in the first half, and they missed 1 here in the second half now as well, West Virginia.
Let's see if they can get James a good look. This team will not reach its potential this season unless Christian James, and that's a foul,
away from the ball,
gets back to the kind of scorer he was early in the year. And they're going to check on him. But Mark, when you think about Christian James, he didn't play his senior year in high school because of a broken leg. He watched and he played. You remember he was a key contributor, the only freshman that really played on that Final Four team with Spangler and Heald and Cousins. So he knows what taking over a game is based on playing with both Buddy Hield and also Trae Young last year. Now, he may not want to force shots up, but that doesn't mean he can't stay aggressive.
Chris, what Coach said about Christian James?
He told me before the game that Christian just struggles with confidence, and if he misses a couple early, then he'll struggle through the rest of the game. Their hopes were for him to get a couple easy baskets early on, but during that last time out, I was watching Lon Kruger. He was talking to Christian James the entire time, and afterwards, Christian brought his guys out to the middle, was trying to rally them up, so Lon Kruger trying to get him to take a different mindset in this last 7 minutes.
Well, it's a great point, Chris, and here's the situation. He's a senior. He gives you 100%. He's a gym rat. He crashes the glass, he attacks the basket, but he's got to understand that this team needs to start riding his shoulders.
The officials, by the way, went to the monitor to see if there was some flagrant contact attached to the hit taken by Christian James. They say no. So James is at the line shooting 2 free throws with 6:47 to play. But I think your point, Fran, he just seems like he's thinking too much when he's out there.
Yes.
Trying to make shots.
Yep, and sometimes unselfishness can actually hurt your team.
Knocks down both free throws, and we got a 2-point game.
I'm going to be honest, Oklahoma has played horrendously, and that's a compliment, because anytime you can win a road game in conference and not play near your best or not very well, that's huge.
Ahmad from a tough angle able to get the rebound with Doolittle underneath him.
Exactly, and that time Ahmad, once again, he's just toying with Christian Doolittle right now.
Issa Ahmad by one and the ball.
He misses the front end. Oklahoma ball. So that's the second front end that they have missed. Well, world titles on the line tonight. ESPN Plus has got you covered at 8 Eastern, UFC Fight Night. And then at midnight, the WBO light heavyweight world title holder Alvarez facing Kovalev in a rematch of their August bout. You can sign up now if you don't have ESPN Plus by downloading the ESPN app. Visit ESPN.com and you can start your 7-day free trial if you haven't already bought in. Hey, $5 a month, man, it's nothing.
Oh, I love
Great
it.
content.
I love it. It's the first time I watched Zion Williamson was when Duke made that Canadian tour in August, and all 3 of those games were televised. Good thing there was no announcer jinx there.
Well, Pollard just missed his first free throw of the year. Makes 1 and 2. 57-56.
Where is West Virginia's scoring going to come from? Because Napper has been terrific all night. And right now they're playing a little triangle, and that's just not a smart play by a 50-year senior.
Calixte trying to strip it.
What West Virginia's doing right now is they're taking their 3 big guys, Harris, Issa Ahmad, and Rout, and they're just playing in a triangle inside. It's like a 2-tight end offense in football. Or sometimes teams go 3 tights when you're going to run the ball, and that's what this lineup is akin to right now.
See the OU foul trouble, including Calixte, who just picked up his 3rd. And West Virginia finally hits a front end. After the 9th team foul of the half against the Sooners. Still a 1-possession game.
Good defense by Harris.
James leaning in.
I like that. That's what we're talking about, Mark. The jumper's not going. He's their leading scorer. They set it up for him to drive from that wing, and he gets himself to the foul line. When I would coach a guy like Christian James, I would call him over and I would say, when you're open, you better shoot it, or I'm not playing you anymore. And if you get a chance to drive and you don't drive, I'm taking you out. I'm not playing you anymore. We need you to score.
Sometimes you got to be direct.
Yes.
He has been perfect from the line today, 7 of 7.
Well, his effort is always at a high level.
Back to a 1-point game with just over 6 minutes to go in Morgantown. Oklahoma has won 2 of their last 3 here in Morgantown. In fact, the road team in general has won 4 of the last 5 between West Virginia and OU.
There's that triangle inside. It's a power offense.
Culver over Pola. Short. Got his own miss and a putback.
That time Culver just out-athleted Pola. Defense on the first attempt was solid. Culver quick off his feet. First time we've seen zone today.
Pola away from the ball is called for the offensive foul on Harris. 10th team foul against OU, so West Virginia will be in the double bonus from here on out. Harris facing up on Bieniemy, looking for a mob, but that was sealed off. Culver.
Yeah, a lot of scuffling inside right now, all those big bodies.
Turning, shooting Harris short. Tipped by Ahmad. Harris almost got it back, but then an OU foul is called on the rebound attempt. And a frown there from Christian James, who saw a break going the other way had there been no whistle. He just picked up his fourth foul instead.
Well, give West Virginia credit. They have owned the offensive glass today.
James with 4 fouls and 5 minutes to go. He kind of motioned towards Lon Kruger. I'll play smart.
Yep. I think you got to leave him in there and let him play as an experienced player.
Wesley Harris has hit 4 free throws the last couple of sequences here for West Virginia to give them a 5-point lead.
Zone again.
Whistle away from the ball, this time on West Virginia's Harris on a push.
Foul is called on Wesley Harris, his third.
Doolittle at the line. OU in the double bonus. 2 shots for Christian Doolittle, a 69% foul shooter this year.
Christian Doolittle has won a couple of games for Oklahoma in late game situations this year, so keep that in mind. TCU at home at Northwestern. Lon Kruger doesn't mind going to him as well as James. If you're Oklahoma right now, you have to be sound on the defensive end and you have to get to the glass. And you don't want to bail West Virginia out by putting them on the foul line.
Harris.
Well, they've got the mismatch inside.
4 to shoot. Harris over Manning. Bouncing off twice. A Doolittle rebound with one arm. Oklahoma's last 10 points have all come from the free throw line. No field goals in the last 4 minutes for the Sooners.
Still in the zone. Kulixty, good shooter. James capable, and obviously Brady Manning. Time running out on that shot clock. Gotta go.
Mannix 3 out front. Culver skying for the rebound.
Really good look. Didn't knock it down. And Ahmad crashes the glass.
Napper with 15 points today. That's tied a career high for him.
There's that inside offense we talked about. 3 bigs.
Harris wanted to go to Culver. Instead, Culver out high. 6 to shoot. A spin move. Culver with the left hand.
Get people in the corners against this defense.
Kulixty found a little crease. That ball's kicked. And a timeout. 7 will be on the shot clock when we come back to Morgantown.
There's a timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by New York Life. We know that life doesn't fit into any one plan, so start a plan that flexes with yours.
West Virginia by 5 as we come down the home stretch. Sometimes your perceived weakness is actually a strength. So watch how Doolittle plays Culver, a non-shooter. Look at the space he gives him. But that gives Culver the running start. Of course, he's got to dribble it to create some momentum to get to the basket. So by playing off Culver, a non-shooter, it actually gives Culver time, space, and rhythm to start his move, and he did it adroitly right there.
Out of the timeout, because of the kick, the shot clock up from 7 to 20, so that's what OU deals with. They're 3:05 on the game clock and a 5-point lead for West Virginia.
Sooners have not mastered that 3-2 zone that's been thrown at them the last couple possessions.
The last 10 points have all come from the line. It's been nearly 6 minutes since the last Oklahoma field goal. Manick loses it in the lane. It's picked up by Haley.
Looks like a little zone by Oklahoma now, 3-2. You don't see this defense very much. Now Oklahoma will match up out of it and play a little man out of it.
The enemy trying to limit Napper. Going to have to put it up a 3. Culver was in position. Might have jumped a little too early on that high rebound, and they're able to rebound off the floor. The Sooners have an open Manick from the corner. And that ends the drought for OU. Almost a little over, actually, 6 minutes between field goals.
A great play by Calixte. He had the shot fake, got deep, and then Manick is murdered. Remember I said you attack that defense in the corners. Good example, 50-year senior Aaron Calixte out of Maine. Drive, kick, money shot, corner ball.
Forward to that, that's next. Is Iowa State the best team in the Big 12 right now?
I think top to bottom they have the most talent, that's for sure, and they've certainly proven they can play with Kansas Jayhawks. A little more zone by Oklahoma. Let's see what Bob Huggins has out of the timeout.
Napper. What a game for Napper. A career high now, 17 points.
They dared him to shoot that, and with the confidence he's shown today, that was a drink of water.
That was a 3, so make it 18 for Napper, who's trying for the steal and creates that.
Execution on both ends by Brandon Napper. Take a look. I mean, that's a 3 o'clock shot. 3 o'clock in the afternoon of practice. Given his confidence level today, I was really surprised that Oklahoma left him that open.
Ill-advised pass. They almost turned it over, but Ahmad saving it.
Somebody in the Mountaineer Maniacs yelled, "No!" Well, they're used to that this year, but today Napper's been terrific.
Doolittle blocked the shot, but contact and sent West Virginia to the line. Coming up next over on ESPN, our college basketball top 15 quintuple header rolling on. 9th-ranked North Carolina, 15th-ranked Louisville, followed by Kentucky, Florida, then IU and number 6 Michigan State. We cap it off at 8. Number 1 Tennessee taking on Texas A&M. All 4 games live on the app as well, so you can watch anywhere.
The Yum Center will be rocking. Remember, just a couple weeks ago, Louisville, coming off a loss at Pitt, went into North Carolina, thrashed the Tar Heels by 20. And right now, the odds-on favorite for Coach of the Year in the ACC has got to be Chris Mack, 7-1 coming into today.
A minute to go. A 6-point lead is cut in half on a Calixte 3. Timeout, Sooners.
Timeout called by Oklahoma. 30-second timeout.
Calixte, that is, with a big shot, his 3rd 3 of the game, giving him 15.
Well, the difference in this game has not been the outside shooting of Napper and Calixte, although Napper's been terrific. Both of them have. It's been the offensive rebounding that's led to some easy opportunities by West Virginia, something that you've come to expect from this Bob Huggins team. Dominance of the offensive glass, and they've done it today. Watch the quick jumping. 3 guys in gold jerseys. They have, like a really good offensive line in football, manhandled the front line of the Oklahoma Sooners today.
23 second chance points, only 9 second chance points for the Sooners. And you mentioned all the offensive rebounds for West Virginia, with 16 of those today.
So now if you're Oklahoma, Mark, you got a couple choices here. You can play this possession out and hope that you stop them, get the ball back, and now you're down 3. Or you can press, maybe judiciously foul, put somebody on the line, stretch the game out, maybe trade their one free throw made for your basket. Let's see what they do.
West Virginia gets it into the front court.
I like the idea that they pressed, because unless there was a layup at the other end, West Virginia was going to pull it out. So Oklahoma's going to look for the stop.
Ahmad, a miss. Another offensive rebound, Culver, and one. That's been the story of the day.
Well, you're exactly right. When they write the story tomorrow, it's going to be about how West Virginia just dominated the paint.
Can't finish it off, but another offensive rebound for Ahmad this time. And now they're going to have to foul, and they do, to stop the clock with 32 seconds left.
Listen, if you're Oklahoma, you got to take a long, hard look in the mirror, because when you have inside position on the defensive backboards, there's no reason that you can't use your body and ward off these guys and make them go over your back. Hasn't happened. You can talk about the lack of outside shooting, the inconsistency on that end, but when they look at this game, it's going to be all about one word today: toughness. And we didn't see enough of it from the Sooners.
Jamal Bieniemy just fouled out for OU. First time he's fouled out of a game in his young collegiate career. Well, we talked about Groundhog Day today. The old Bill Murray movie. Well, it might be Groundhog Day for Oklahoma if they can't come back and win, because last year at this time they did a big slide to end the year, and at least for a day, West Virginia looks like the West Virginia of old.
Well, in Lon Kruger's 7 years at Oklahoma, they have never had a over 500 record in February, and they're getting this February off to a rocky start in a game, quite frankly, they really had a chance to steal on the road. But give West Virginia credit. No Bolden, no Kanate, but they did have Brandon Napper stepping up as a freshman today.
He has been off the bench today for Brandon Napper. He has set a career high.
It was money in the first half, and then second half he picked up the slack. It's been some timely shooting, good playmaking.
Team's now 7
Pretty
turnovers.
solid job on the defensive end as well for the redshirt freshman from right down the road in South Charleston.
His previous career high was 15 earlier this season against Baylor. He's bettered that with 21 so far today. 7 of 10 shooting and 4 threes. 32 seconds left. OU ball, and they're down 7. Look at the second chance points. Big offshoot of the offensive rebounding edge today for West Virginia. Mannix 3. They need it badly. Got it. 4-point game. And Oklahoma uses a timeout. They've got 1 left.
Yeah, but now you have to trap and foul. Steal it, foul it. 2-possession game. You got to elongate the game. This is well done. Drive, kick, Manic. Good look when his feet are set, eyes on the rim.
That's his 4th 3 of the day. Maybe the haircut has done him some good.
Yeah. So now if you're Lon Kruger, you're drawing up a full court press, and what you're basically telling your team is, we've got a couple seconds to try to trap it and run through a couple passing lanes. Let's play 4 up in the full court, safety man back at midcourt. But if we don't get a quick trap and steal, let's foul right away, and then let's come down into our hurry-up offense, which they just ran. Drive it, dish it, shoot it, get on the backboard, foul again.
When we are finished here, we'll send you to Texas, Iowa State in Ames, which has started now at ESPN News. If you're curious about who to foul, if you're OU.
There you go. And if you get a chance to get one of those 3 guys, Culver, Harris, Haley, early, give it.
Had a chance to get Culver there. Didn't do it.
And there's no reason why they shouldn't have just fouled Culver.
Oklahoma's number 21, Christian Doolittle, his fourth.
Doolittle's fourth foul, stopping the clock. 22.5 seconds left.
The interesting thing, Mark, about Oklahoma, as they have a chance now to go to 15-7, 3-6 in the league, is they have played a great non-conference schedule, and they have a bunch of quadrant 1 wins, and their NCAA net ranking is pretty high, but they have to get back on track. Their consistency, especially on offense, is waning right now.
Still a 2-possession game. Calixte taking it to the rim to get a quick 2.
Same situation now.
OU burns their last timeout.
Essentially the same situation. So now what you're telling your team is, look, now we can't afford to wait to foul the bad shooters. We got to try to trap it, steal it, and foul right away anyway. Take the calculated risk that they'll miss one. We may be able to come back and hit a 3 or a 2 and trade possessions.
Well, after today, most teams in the Big 12 will be exactly at the midpoint of the conference season, having played 9 games. But here's how it looks coming into today. You got OU looking for their 4th conference win. West Virginia's only conference win came here against Kansas. Jayhawks will take on Texas Tech in a big game today in Lawrence. Of course, Iowa State and Texas coming up next here on ESPN2.
Well, and not to be a downer if you're a Sooner fan, but they've dropped 2 at home to Iowa State and Baylor, which you can't do. Now they've got another tough one on Monday night. Obviously, Texas Tech awaits at home. The next 2 games critical to Oklahoma's season, without a doubt. Look at that run. Now that's not abnormal in this league. Everybody goes through that. But you gotta protect your home court.
Sooners down 4. Just under 17 seconds left. OU out of timeouts. West Virginia has 1 remaining. Haley can run the baseline here. They won't guard the inbounds. Quick foul as it comes in to Dapper.
You like it. Didn't take any time off the clock. All you want to do is, as Johan Kruger, is give your team a chance to figure out a way to get back in. So this is what you practice about 3 days a week, late game situations.
Back in for Oklahoma. Brandon Dapper, the line for Algier, shooting 2.
This has got to make this young man feel good. Been times this year where you couldn't play him because he was a turnover machine, but a lot of growth and maturity today.
Neither of those free throws touched iron. Calixte. Rebound Culver. A foul with 6.5 seconds left, and West Virginia is going to win their 2nd conference game of the season at the expense of the Sooners. As Fran alluded to, would drop to 3-6 in conference.
And remember, they did it without Beto Bolden. They've been playing all season long without Sax Kanate. And so give these young guys, particularly
at the free throw line,
the freshmen, Napper, McCabe, Culver today, a lot of credit. This kid's a monster, isn't he, at the foul line?
6'10", true freshman. Double-double today for him. That's the day for West Virginia in a nutshell. '79-71, West Virginia downs Oklahoma and Morgantown. That's going to take care of things from Morgantown. Let's send you to Ames, Texas, Iowa State with Rich Hollenberg and Robbie Hummel. For Chris and Fran, I'm Mark. So long from Morgantown.